Meet me in the foyer.
A new adventure begins, film friends. Yes, we shall be heading off on a new exploration of the film forest. So thank you for being on time to meet me in the foyer. And look over there. It's our guide on this foray from the foyer to the peak of Movie Mountain. It's Linda Marrick. How are you doing, Linda?
Oh, hi. Uh, Back from
Back, back,
my
back.
adventures at the London Film Festival, which was really hardcore for 12 days. Was it?
Mm.
12 extremely exhausting days. I mean, like, I'm sure other people have very exhausting jobs, so I shouldn't really complain. But I am back and ready
Good
to
to have
go.
you back. Did you have a good time? I mean, I was to coin a phrase to use the street parlance of the youth of today, or in fact 5 years ago, I was well gel. So how was it?
I don't know if it. I think it's really hard to say that you've had a good time. For me, it was just watching as many movies, as many big titles or titles that are more likely to be because it is very much a launch pad for award season,
Hmm.
and everyone knows that. And for me, it was trying to sort of take as many as possible before it gets really busy and before sort of the end of the year. And so I was cramming them in, and you don't realize that you're so exhausted by the end of it. So, I mean, I also went to a few parties as well, and
Oh, yeah.
and like, it was people were kind enough to sort of invite me to a few parties and to like some Q&As, and I did have fun. I'm just saying it's very tiring, and it's very
I,
time consuming.
I did see you looking very glamorous, stood next to a certain Hollywood star.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
oh yes.
a towering, statuesque Hollywood star.
Tilda Swinton,
Yes,
yes.
indeed. Yes, and of your festival viewing, are your selections tonight going to be from those that week?
Yes, both of them actually. So yeah, I won't say anything yet because usually I would introduce my films, but I think I'm going to leave them as a surprise, both of them, because they're both pretty good.
Okay, okay. Right.
Meet me in the foyer.
Well, on that intriguing note, why don't we get on with the business of Meet Me in the Foyer and the box office top 10 for the first time in a fortnight. So, the box office top 10 as it stands at number 10, Night of the Zoopocalypse, a new animation on the blocks at last.
I haven't seen this, not seen this, not, but
No,
wasn't around to screen it. I mean, I was invited to a screening, but I was elsewhere.
so
I was occupied elsewhere. So yeah, no, I haven't seen it.
strange concept. The story of a group of animals in a zoo trying to survive a zombie outbreak. I don't think it's got the staying power of Bad Guys 2, shall we say. Uh, at number 9, After the Hunt, its first week on release. That's Luca Guadagnino's new film starring Julia Roberts, Ayo Edebiri, Andrew Garfield, Michael Stuhlbarg, and Chloe
Really.
Savini, which I was quite intrigued by the trailers, but
Not great.
that's what I've heard. Yeah.
It's not great, unfortunately.
At 8, Downton Abbey, the grand finale, still there after its sixth week, I should say, making nearly £18 million, so paying its way. At number 7, Good Fortune, in its first week on release. Aziz Ansari's supernatural comedy starring Seth Rogen and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. Again, I have not seen it. Again, I was invited to a screening, but I was elsewhere occupied. So yeah, I couldn't. It's just like, sometimes you have to make a decision. It's either seeing this really massive film with loads of stars in it, or seeing a film that's gonna come and go. So yeah.
Or is it seeing this film or hanging out with Tilda Swinton? Is that the truth, Linda? At 6, Roofman, also in its first week on release, so it's a big release week this week. That's the new crime comedy starring Channing Tatum and Kirsten
That's not a
Dunst.
bad movie. I quite like that. I quite like Riffman.
Yeah, that looked fun from the trailer, I have to say. I'm intrigued by that one. At 5, One Battle After Another, the as we know now, the new Paul Thomas Anderson masterpiece, dare I say. Reviewed by Linda on a previous show, if you want to hear her high praise for that. Now, it's been out a month now. It's made nearly £10 million, which is doing well. Unlike the next film, at number 4, Tron Ares, second week on release, reviewed by Linda on a previous show. And I actually saw it on its day of release, and I could give my own review, but maybe I won't. I don't want to fall out with Linda this early in the show.
But it's fine, you know. I think the reason why it hasn't worked or hasn't taken in money, has nothing to do with the film itself. I think people really don't like who is starring in this movie because there is controversy around it. And I personally think if you're not a Tron fan or a massive fan of the franchise itself, it's actually a good sci-fi adventure. But then again, you know, I've been wrong in the past and I've been right, so I don't know.
I've been wrong before and I'll be wrong again is my catchphrase. But I do disagree there. I think it makes lots of mistakes. I think it makes a mistake in not following on from the previous one, but it's been a long time, so that's understandable. The lead casting is not something that got me enthused, but not a big problem. But it is a big problem for some other people. Mainly, I think it's. You said you were never bored watching it, and I have to agree. I was never bored.
I'm not bored.
But I was also never excited. You know, I felt like the best bits were the Gillian Anderson scenes, and that's a bit of a misstep really for a Tron film.
I guess I had very low expectations, and when you have low expectations and you end up quite enjoying the movie, you don't really mind. And for me, that's the reaction I got from it, and I know other people who really liked it as well. So, you know, we don't all have there is no need for all of us to agree on something. No. I'm prepared to sort of take other people's sort of criticism of it, of course, obviously, but at the same time, I can only give my own opinion, and in my opinion, I quite liked it. I thought it was okay, and I found it very entertaining.
That's absolutely fair enough. No, that's what we're here for, honest opinions. And no, I would just say it felt like going into the real world was the natural next step, having done the cyber world twice, but then you kind of lose the spectacle that you expect from a Tron film, and you know, it followed the same pattern as the previous films, and it was very, very, very much a Disney film. You know, it told you at the start where it was going to go, and then it just went straight there. But yeah, I'll bore you with a big review later on. Moving on to something better, perhaps at number 3, I Swear, on its second week on release.
Fabulous film.
Yes, it's doing well.
Love that movie. I just think I think that's likely to be like the best British movie of the year, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember what the final gross was for The Salt Path, and of course that was slightly stymied by the controversy that arose around it, but it
had zero chance after what's happened. So
and maybe I suppose this is already looking much bigger than oh God, what was the Tim Key film?
Something Island.
Yes. That again, I don't know what that finally took. Not that money's everything, but yes.
That is such a lovely movie. Actually, yeah. See, funny how the two movies British movies that you've liked this year both have that kind of undercurrent of comedy as well as seriousness.
Yeah, something I like.
Yeah, and small movies as well.
And then, although it's not a British movie, the other one I really liked was Islands, which has the Islands connection. So it all ties together. Something that doesn't appeal to me so much, and I'm not sure appeals to Linda either, actually. Number 2, Black Phone 2. It's again.
I liked the first one. I thought the first one was interesting, and it did something really interesting with the era it was in, and it was filmed to suit the era. I thought it was really actually quite impressive. I haven't seen the second one again because I've been elsewhere, been busy. I do intend to go and see it in the cinema and see what all the fuss is about. I'm not hearing great things about it.
No, I haven't either. Say, and number one, a film perhaps neither of us will see, but I can't speak for Linda. Perhaps she's a big fan of Gaby's Dollhouse, the movie, released this week.
We're taking a trip to spend the week with my grandma.
Buckle up, Gaby Cats. It's time to go.
Here we go! Do you want to come to San Francisco with us? Let's do it.
Everyone, lean left. The other left, baby box.
I'm learning so much today.
Malena, Mommy will be right back.
Who is that?
What do we have here? Vera wondered aloud as a man in the street yelled at her.
Seriously, lady, what is wrong with you?
My cat collection. Add to cart.
No! Girl, bye! My hair.
My tushy!
My fashion! Oh, wait. Kitty, scratch that. I look fabulous. I have a feeling we're going to need backup.
What's wrong?
This is a dollhouse problem.
Here we go!
Marlena, bring me my yoga mat. Oh, pulling out the wishbone. You are really trying to destroy the universe right now.
Not something I'd heard of before, a live-action animation musical fantasy comedy based on the Netflix series Gaby's Dollhouse.
Yeah. Not a clue.
No.
And I think next week we have this K-pop thing called a animation again for kids Netflix thing called
Okay.
what's it called? Anyway, I will mention it. I'm sure we'll mention it next week because it will do really well in the box office as well. Or the week after, I can't remember.
Yes, they do. And if you're wondering, as I know you are, Bad Guys 2 is now at number 13. So
finally.
yeah, perhaps this is a sign of the end times. The apocalypse is upon us. Bad Guys 2 has slipped out of the top 10.
It only needs like a couple more animations to be involved, and then that's it. Like the one single animation that's been in cinemas for this long, and it literally was there because there was nothing else on being released, which is so bizarre to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so that's our roundup of the box office top 10 this week.
Meet me in the foyer.
Why don't we put Linda to work? That's what she's here for. So why don't we kick off with a review? When you meet me in the foyer, you can rely that you're meeting with someone who knows someone, with one of the finest critical minds in the world of motion pictures, which is just right, as it takes a mastermind to know a mastermind. So here is Mastermind Linda, walking up to the big black chair, settling in the spotlight, and bringing us a review of the new heist film, The Mastermind, starring Josh O'Connor.
Saw Kip's father today. He said Kip has projects all over town.
He spends all his time balancing books, scheduling, on the phone. It's an idiotic way to spend your time.
Well, you seem to have a good amount of time on your hands.
Did you know the kids don't have school today?
I'm at work. Why can't they be with you?
I've got things to do.
What things? Like what? That's a lot of money.
Just hear me out. It's a big, life-changing opportunity for me. But I'd have to rent a workspace and purchase tools which I don't have. That sort of thing.
And this is real?
Mom, it's real.
Dad! Dad!
You don't look like cops.
Say, James, we've been told that you're mixed up in this robbery.
I sure don't know how you got down this road. You got the wrong idea. I'm afraid you got some bad information.
I sure do appreciate that once in a blue moon, someone I know and love is gonna come along and blow my mind.
Well, what do you say we stop talking about it for now? Because I find it kind of upsetting.
What do you say we stop talking about it for now? Because I find it kind of upsetting.
What do you say we stop talking about it for now? Because I find it kind of upsetting. What do you say we stop talking about it for now? Because I find it kind of upsetting. What do you say we stop talking about it for now? Because I find it kind of upsetting. What do you say we stop talking about it for now? Because I find it kind of upsetting. What do you say we stop talking about it for now? Because I find it kind of upsetting. What do you say we stop talking about it for now? Because I find it kind of upsetting. What do you say we stop talking about it for now? Because I find it kind of upsetting. What do you say we stop talking about it for now? Because I find it kind of upsetting. What do you say we stop talking about it for now? Because I find it kind of upsetting. What do you say we stop talking about it for now? Because I find it kind of upsetting. What do you say we stop talking about it for now? Because I find it kind of upsetting. What do you say we stop talking about it for now? Because I find it kind of up
Yeah, I'm good with that.
JB?
Yeah.
Who's down there?
The guys are here.
Don't forget to lock the door.
Okay.
Linda.
This is the third Josh O'Connor movie I've seen last couple of weeks, and he is, I have to say, just turning into one, like, if not my favorite current actor, into one of my favorite actors. I've seen him in Wake Up That Dead Man, the Knives Out movie. He's absolutely brilliant in that. Just, very intense performance, as well as like comedic sort of air to it. I also saw him in The History of Sound, which the Oliver Hermanos movie, which I wasn't super convinced by. Unfortunately, he is the best thing in it. And then he stars in the new Kelly Reichardt. I don't know if you know of Kelly Reichardt, but she is one of my favorite directors. She's done Certain Women. She's done Meat's Cut Off, First Cow. She's just a absolutely wonderful, very understated director who works with kind of Americana subjects. Like she's someone who uses a very sort of downbeat tone to broach these subjects that nobody else does, and she's brilliant. I don't know if you've seen any of her films, but I'm like a huge fan of her work. I think she's quietly one of the most underrated filmmakers are working right now, and she does things. She appears every couple of years with these absolutely brilliant movies that just all critics love, and I don't know how well they do in the cinema, but for me, this is fantastic. This is being released by Mubi in the UK. I don't know who's got it elsewhere, but just another wonderful movie and another fantastic performance by Josh O'Connor. So the story is inspired by the 1972 robbery of the Worcester Art Museum in Massachusetts, in which two Gauguin, a Picasso and a Rembrandt were stolen. So, and the Mastermind, the Josh O'Connor plays James Blaine Mooney, who is a kind of a loser, really. He's from like an upper middle class, actually no, a rather upper class family. His dad is a judge, his mum is a politician, but he's a married man with two children who has absolutely no prospects, no future. He went and studied architecture at university, but has done absolutely nothing with his life, and he reckons himself as some kind of mastermind, some kind of really intelligent guy. So when we first meet him, he's scoping out this museum where these paintings are being kept. And he's as subtle as a heart attack. He thinks he's really clever, but he isn't. He doesn't really know what he's doing. So he borrows money from his mum. Again, she's a local politician, and he borrows money from her to organize a heist to pay these two heavies to go and steal for him. And he also pays a getaway driver who lets him down at the last minute, and he basically becomes a getaway driver. From here on, everything that could go wrong goes wrong. I won't go on too much because it's really fun to sort of, it's really gripping, it's really fun, it's very understated. It's not something like, it's not, he is like an anti-hero, but he's got very little charm about him. But, about the same time, he can't help but sort of root for this completely helpless character who doesn't really know what he's doing or what he's doing with his life. There's some really fabulous performances here by, again, Josh O'Connor, Alana Haim from the Haim band, who's also in Licorice Pizza. Hope Davis plays Sarah Mooney, who is the mother of James, Josh Connor's character. We have also Bill Camp plays Judge Williams Mooney, the main character's father. Some, as I say, some really fantastic performances here. There's like an air of like sort of humor, comedy, but I know Kelly Reichardt, and I've interviewed, like, not as a friend, I've interviewed her a couple of times, and she's someone who is very serious. She's very, I don't want to like misrepresent this woman, but she's a very serious woman. She's a very dour woman. That's why I was quite surprised by the comedic tone of this movie. I loved it. I just think it's not as good as First Cow, which I think is her probably best movie. However, I do think of the three films I saw Josh Connor in this last couple of weeks, this is the best one, and I just think he's fabulous. He can play in three different. I'm not going to review those other movies because I'm going to leave it till the release date for them. But just of the three performances, he plays three completely different sort of characters, and he manages it with such ease and subtlety and simplicity. I am in awe, and I don't know if any other actor can do that. I think he is just fabulous. Plays an American character in this, and also in actually the two other movies as well. And they're all set in different eras, and they are all very different, and manages to capture that kind of accent of the regional accent, the way people speak. I am so impressed by him, and fabulous movie. Again, like, I'm a huge fan of Kelly Reichardt, and any movie from her is a welcome addition to any sort of festival program. Again, as I said, this is going to be released on Mubi. I don't know if it's getting a theatrical release, but you can watch it on Mubi as on streaming if you pay for Mubi. There you go.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I have to say, this is not in my area of expertise at all. I looking, as you were reading, as you were speaking, I was doing a bit of reading, and the only Josh O'Connor film I've seen is Florence Foster Jenkins, which I can't remember what role he played in that. And the only one of her films I've seen is
God's Own Country. Own Country. You haven't seen that?
No.
Really good in that.
And her film, the only film I've seen is First Cow, which I know was critically loved, but I didn't hate it or love it. It just left me completely neutral. I didn't.
You just have I think with her, for me, there are some things about her filmmaking that I admire. What I love about her filmmaking is that she's in no hurry to do stuff. She wants to give you the impression. So the First Cow is about the sort of the first, people go into the west of America, and sort of like the gold rush, and and it's about an atmosphere. It's about sort of capturing that moment in time. It's about capturing how people would have spoken, how they would have interacted with each other, how they would have spoken to each other, how it's almost like a history lesson with her. And I if you're not open to that kind of filmmaking, then that's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with not being not having the time or the sort of the patience for that kind of very slow filmmaking genre. I have that. I love that, because I'm someone who watches so many movies a year, and it's very important for me that I really love the subject, and it's really important for me that I love the filmmaking, the sort of the textures of things that are being filmed. And I get bored very easily when it's like big explosions and it's like silly sort of concepts and silly premises. But with her, I have not. I think her films are just extraordinary, and I really like the slowness of them, because you get to really know the characters. Yeah, it's just me.
No, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. I think I don't mind a slow film at all. I think perhaps I had a misconception with First Cow, and I think I went into it thinking it was a comedy.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
No, it's not.
So
And
my
actually,
mistake. Yeah,
it's
but
a very sad movie, actually, if you think about it. Yeah.
I have to watch it again. I have to watch it again. As I say,
Oh, please do, because you would love it. And also watch Certain Women. It's so good.
okay.
Such a good movie.
I'll have a little. I'll have a little marathon then, and then try Mastermind because this sounds like it could be my way in. Marvelous. Well, that's Linda's first review of the week, and sounds like a winner.
Meet me in the foyer.
So why don't we now take a look at the news? Well, this week we have a trailer for Send Help, the blood-soaked survival thriller starring Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien, due to crash into cinemas on the 30th of January.
I'm going to be frank with you. You are smart. I know that you are great with numbers, but I just don't think you got it. As an executive, I see no value in you. Does that make sense?
I'm sorry, what?
You know we have the Bangkok merger coming up. Prove me wrong. Oh, Linda, before you go, I forgot to mention I've received a few complaints about you.
Complaints?
Noxious odors.
Oh, God.
Take your seats, if you're a little bitch.
The coast joined the land of the living.
How long?
You been out? Day and a half?
Have you tried making a distress signal? Or a bigger fire?
I was busy trying to keep us alive.
But getting us out of here, that should be your focus, not being Susie Homemaker over here.
What did you just say to me?
Let's not forget, I'm your boss. You work for me.
We're not in the office anymore, Bradley. No help is coming. We just have to accept that this is how things are now. You ever hunt? I think I like it. You are stuck with an asshole boss. Just like I was. Although I'm betting I am a much nicer boss than you ever would have been. Except for maybe this part. I don't think we should ever leave.
We have the news that it seems starring in a Sonic trilogy has relit Jim Carrey's flame, as he is apparently considering taking a role in a live-action version of The Jetsons, the 60s sci-fi cartoon series that actually only ran for a single season. Sadly, if this does come to pass, there's a good reason to temper your excitement, as Colin Trevorrow, Jurassic World Dominion director, is being lined up to helm the project. So, we have a trailer for Body Horror Alpha from Julia DeCournois.
DeCourneau, yeah.
DeCourneau, lovely. Due to leave its mark in cinemas from the 14th of November. More horror news. Lovers. Sorry, that's not right. More horror news for horror lovers. I was getting inappropriate with you all. As Evil Dead Burn has wrapped shooting ahead of its July 2026 release. So a long period of post-production ahead, seemingly, and plenty of time to build the hype ahead of a film that is apparently unconnected to previous film Evil Dead Rise or any other film in the franchise, for that matter. Which seems odd to me, but if they want to do standalones, I guess they're more than welcome to.
Was it director? Who directed that?
That I don't know. It's not a returning director. I remember that, but I can't remember who it is. Evil Dead is one of those films that absolutely sits in the category of horror I don't watch, not because it bores me, but because it is too scary. And I haven't seen any past 3. So yeah. We've also got a trailer for Primate, Johannes Roberts' survival horror.
911, what's your emergency? He's acting crazy. He killed all the others. Don't kill the others.
We're in Hawaii, baby!
This is crazy. This is home. There's someone I want you to meet. This is Ben.
My hand? He wants to shake my hand?
Yeah. Hi, Ben. Our mom rescued him, and now he's part of our family.
Ben, happy.
He's kind of cute.
Yeah, right.
Ben? Did something bite him?
Ben? There's something wrong with Ben.
Hey, what happened? It's me, Lucy. It's okay.
In the pool! Ben can't swim!
Lucy, bad. Bad. Bad.
Give me the phone. Try recent calls. Yes, it's ringing.
Brad, listen to me. We need help.
Oh, you need some help?
Send somebody.
What's your emergency?
You need to send the police.
Ma'am?
He found me.
What's up? Sure this is the right place?
Who the hell has a pet chimp?
Other bits and bobs lying around. Rian Johnson has said that Wake Up Dead Man, we've already heard referred to, was the hardest script he's ever written. Adam Driver has revealed a Steven Soderbergh-directed Star Wars movie, The Hunt for Ben Solo, was in the works, but Disney vetoed it. And Sydney Sweeney has said she built her own Rocky-style gym to train for her Oscar-bait boxing drama, Christie, due to Hear the Bell and to begin its fight for the box office supremacy in November. That was at the film festival. Did you see that one, Linda?
I haven't seen it. No, I just honestly, it didn't really. I wasn't in a hurry to see it. I could see it for what it was, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I've not even read any reviews of it, so I have no idea if it's any good. So I will be seeing it on week of release soon.
Meet me in the foyer.
Right, time to head over to Linda for a review. And right now, she brings us a review of Nia DaCosta's Tessa Thompson starring Hedda, based on the Henrik Ibsen play Hedda Gabler.
I've heard so much about you, Mrs. Tesman.
Hedda is fine. What have you heard?
That before you were domesticated, you were like fire.
Could you tell us the events of the evening up to the incident?
Hedda?
Yes?
This is what you wanted, isn't it? Money and the house, the party.
Charming. I love your flower thing.
Nothing can go wrong tonight, Hedda. Nothing.
Eileen. Why did you come here? To make sure I didn't love you.
You sing
What?
on edge.
Hedda, darling, what are you up to? You'll see. You're not leaving, are you? Best to resist temptation. Ah, come on, Eileen. You're stronger than that.
What has got into you?
Sometimes I can't help myself.
Jesus, these people.
Why are you like this?
What are you so afraid of?
I hope you're happy.
Don't I look happy?
Linda.
Well. I mean, I've seen this twice now, and I've interviewed all the cast and have chatted with the director as well about her film. And I've been very excited to sort of talk about it. I've already reviewed it for print, so it's still very fresh in my head. Again, as you said, this is the latest adaptation. Hedda is a play that's been on and off is never off stage, basically. Throughout Europe. Henrik Ibsen, who did the Doll's House and all sorts of other absolutely brilliant plays, his play, The Hedda Gabler, plays everywhere in Europe and is a much loved piece of writing that people forever. I think this is the second film adaptation. There was one in 1975, I believe. Don't really know much about that one, and I should have probably done my homework, but I have not seen that, and I don't think it's anything exciting, to be honest. But there's a difference here. Neil DaCosta is a very well-respected filmmaker, and Tessa Thompson is also a very well-respected actor, and who very seldom makes bad decisions, apart from, here some stuff here and there, but she is someone who's always absolutely perfect in any role. The film also stars Imogen Poots, Tom Bateman, fabulous performance by Tom Bateman, as well as Imogen Poots, Nicholas Pinnock and Nina Hoss, who in here plays the role of in the original play, her character is called Isla Lovborg, who is a man, but for the movie, they've basically gender flipped for her role and made her into a woman called Eileen Lovborg. So the story follows Tessa Thompson as Hedda Gabler. Hedda is a wild woman, really. She's newly married to Tom Bateman's character, George Tesman. And George is from a well-to-do family, but hasn't got that much money. She's the, let's say, illegitimate daughter to someone a very well-respected person who has died very recently. She's kind of inherited this house, but not really. Her husband has managed to put himself into debt by preserving this absolutely grandiose house that he is more than likely going to lose to the bank very soon. So they're back from their honeymoon, and we very, very quickly realize that she is the most manipulative, the most sort of troubled young woman. She's had many a lover before him, men and women. She's someone who's, when she puts her mind to something, she will make it happen, whatever happens. And the problem with George, her new husband, is that he's someone who is so besotted with her, but he's also someone who really wants to control her. She's like a savage animal. She's like a wild animal that no man or woman has been able to tame in the past. But he thinks he's a very kind of earnest kind of person, but he thinks he can do it. But finds himself, you know, in like a deer in a headlight. She's playing games with him. She's playing games with other people. So they organize this absolutely massive party where she invites everything to it, including her ex-lover, Eileen Loveborg, played by Nina Hoss. So Eileen is so the party is being given in honor of her husband, George. George wants to basically be made a professor in this university, and basically making him, giving him the ability to sort of sustain the life that Hedda wants for her and him. Enters Eileen Loveborg, who is also a writer and someone who's very knowledgeable, probably better placed than George for the job. And but there is a problem with her. She has a bad reputation, but she's also a drunk. So she invites her, and when Eileen turns up, she's a changed woman suddenly. She's also got taken on a new lover, a young woman called Thea, who played by Imogen Poots, who, as you have it, she was at school with Hedda, so she knows Hedda's cruelty more than anyone else. In the midst of all this, there is a fantastic performance by Nicholas Pinnock as Judge Roland Brack, who is someone who knew her father really well, and someone who's almost like been grooming her since childhood. He thinks he knows her. He thinks they are the same person. He's this kind of lascivious, like really oily, like the horrible sort of person who thinks he knows her inside out, but who in the end sort of starts to realize that he doesn't really know her that well. This is a just absolutely fantastic adaptation. Near DaCosta is a fantastic. I don't know if I said, but this is set in the 50s. The original play was like premiered in 1890 or 1891. So it's been modernized, but it's not the first time it's been modernized. So many women, many actresses have played Hedda at different sort of eras, and have done a fantastic job with it. And I think that setting this in the 50s is actually really, really good, because the element of like party, the party turns into a debauched party as Eileen Loveborg falls off her drinking bandwagon, drinking wagon, and she's tempted by Hedda in a really sort of Machiavellian way into drinking, and things happen that shouldn't happen. It's just so well done. It's like by the end of it, you've got to sort of make a decision what you think of her, what you think of Hedda. I mean, if you're familiar with the play, everything I'm saying here, you know already. I think the difference with this is that the Tessa Thompson performance is wonderful. However, the one thing, I have one criticism, which is Tessa is an American actress and someone who's had to have a voice or sort of an accent teacher to do this kind of really clipped, posh English accent, which she didn't need to do. And I don't think it actually works out for her that well. I was not convinced by that accent. And I would have liked to see her do it in her own accent, because she plays this kind of mixed race girl whose father was white and whose mother was black. And then she's someone who it's okay. It would have been okay if she'd been, because if we are going to mix things up a bit and modernize it, it would have been fine to have her as someone who's American, like there was no problem with that. It's just a bit disappointing that the accent, but other than that, she is brilliant. She looks magnificent, and she wears the hell out of all the costumes that she's in, all the sort of the wardrobe. She looks absolutely fantastic. The performances are all great, and the dialogue is just on point. I really like this, and I like DaCosta as a director. Just sumptuous and beautifully done. Yeah.
Fabulous. Once again, I have to reveal my shallowness. I've not heard of this before.
Ibsen. Oh, you don't. You're not a fan of Ibsen? Oh,
I've heard of Ibsen, but I've not heard of this story.
Yeah.
Although the sort of plot line sounds familiar, and I can't quite place why.
I
It's
mean,
probably influenced a lot. But...
it's his sort of probably most known play, I'd say. I did, like English university, so I kind of I was very well affair with it, and it's something because I'd studied it so much, and you have to be really sort of. But even if you haven't, I think it's really worth reading. It's very accessible actually, and so the original, I think it's Danish, if I'm not.
But he's Norwegian, so
Norwegian, not Danish. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the original text is in Norwegian, and it's had several interpretations of it. But yeah, fabulous. Absolutely loved it. This is actually going to be streaming on Amazon Video, but it's getting I think 1 week of theatre release.
Yes, it's becoming quite standard now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, I wasn't aware of Thompson doing any sort of serious stuff before. I'm sure she has, but I only really know her from the action movies, the Marvel movies, and things like that. So I'm very intrigued to see her in this role. And
I think she's fab, and I've been a fan of hers for a long time, and I think she's been in really she was in Passing, which is brilliant, from a couple of years ago, from 3 or 4 years ago, with Rebecca Hall. I mean, it's directed by Rebecca Hall, and it's basically based on the story of her own family. And but Rebecca Hall has spoken in the past about how her own great-grandmother was mixed race, but she did not tell anyone or refused to let anyone know for many years. And so Rebecca was very intrigued by these sort of fairly light-skinned black women who were passing as white in New York society. It was completely against the law around that time, and if you were caught, you were thrown in jail for even attempting it. Just very, very interesting. I think a very interesting sort of idea, and yeah, and she's been in other things that are quite serious. None come to me right now, but she's been in quite a few things. Yeah, I really like her. I think she's brilliant.
yeah, no, actually, I don't know that film, but I've read the novel. I read it at university.
Oh, you know, oh, okay,
Yeah, very good novel. I have to say.
Creed. She was in Creed. That's kind of serious-ish.
I've not seen it. I don't follow the Rocky films, but and I was intrigued to see Imogen Poots again. I haven't seen her for years. It's been a while since she was in anything.
Yeah, she's
Well,
fantastic. Yeah.
fabulous. Well, looking forward to that, definitely. As I say, I saw the trailer for that one a long time ago, so very intrigued by that one. And she does look stunning in all the posters and trailers and things, I have to say.
She's beautiful. And in real life, she's really beautiful.
Thank you very much, Linda.
Meet me in the foyer.
Right, now it's my turn, and Linda's brought us the highbrow this week, so of course it's my job to bring us the lowbrow, and I've not failed in that mission, because it's time for another classic movie moment, and this week we have another film, much like Daryl, if you recall, that I enjoyed as a child, and to be honest, still enjoyed when rewatching it this week, but is it a classic? Did I largely enjoy it due to nostalgia and good snacks? Well, let's find out, as this week I take a look back at a film enjoying its 40th anniversary in Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins, or Remo Williams' Unarmed and Dangerous.
America's top security experts have chosen this man.
Don't take any chances. This guy's a killer.
For a special mission. But first, he's got to pass one little test.
Speak English. Does your nightingale sing? Hold it! You move like a baboon with two club feet. However, I think I can do something with him.
Goodbye, Mr. Crow.
Who's he?
No more Boy Scouts. Take a look at this. High-altitude reconnaissance probe. There is none. Doesn't exist.
These men will rob America of her might.
He won't be with us for much longer.
Unless someone
Relax.
can stop them.
Concentrate. This is not time for prayer.
Remo Williams. The adventure begins.
What are you watching? Your country's one contribution to the art. It's a soap opera. It is apparent to me that you know less than nothing. Place your hands behind your head. I did not say keep them there.
Before he's through, he'll learn to move faster than a bullet.
Excellent.
Not bad.
Hear the heartbeat of an enemy.
John, I need to borrow him for a while.
And leave no footprints in the sand.
Some joker walks into one of my plants, snoops around, walks right out again, and now you're telling me he doesn't exist?
Across town, a man has found his head blown off.
Perfect accident. And you're telling me he's going to get away with it, huh? And we can't stop him?
You can stop him, son.
It'll be my pleasure.
Now, based on the Destroyer novel series that sold over 30 million copies, America's favorite tough guy comes to the screen. In a movie big enough to hold him. Remo Williams. The adventure begins.
Have you seen this, Linda?
No, not for a long time. And I think if I did see it, it would have been on TV. And I have very little recollection of it at all. So, but I do know which films you're talking about.
I'm impressed that your knowledge expands as wide as to take in stuff like this. But so Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins, also released, as I say, is Unarmed and Dangerous. I'm not quite sure why or where those different titles were released. But anyway, that came out in 1985, directed by Guy Hamilton, who we probably know best as the Bond director. He directed some of the best Bond films: Goldfinger, Diamonds Are Forever, Live and Let Die, and The Man with the Golden Gun. Remo was his penultimate film. And it's based on a series of pulp paperbacks called The Destroyer, featuring the character Remo Williams. And it was supposed to be the first in a series of films based on the Destroyer novels, but for reasons we may find out wasn't. So what's it all about? Well, it's all about Sam Makin, a tough Brooklyn, New York City cop and Vietnam-era Marine Corps veteran. He's unwillingly recruited as an assassin for a secret United States organization called Cure. And that's not a side project for the band with the bad hair and strange makeup. So the recruitment is through a bizarre method. His death is faked and he's given a new face and a new name. He's rechristened Remo Williams, a name taken from the manufacturer of a bedpan in his hospital room. His face is surgically altered and he's trained to be a human killing machine by his aged, derisive and impassive Korean martial arts master Cheon. Though Remo's training is extremely rushed, by Cheon's standards, Remo learns seemingly impossible skills such as dodging bullets and running on water and wet concrete. Cheon teaches Remo a Korean martial art named Sinanju, the Sun Source. And Remo's instruction is interrupted when he's sent by Cure to investigate a corrupt weapons procurement program within the US Army. So, so Remo, he's a cocky, sort of typical American jock, basically, slightly bully boyish. I think his sort of smart-assed nature and lack of respect for authority is supposed to be sort of endearing and charming. But for me, to be honest, he falls a bit short of that. I find Fred Ward, who plays Remo, is a bit boorish. To be honest, people may disagree, but it doesn't quite nail it for me in this. He's, as I say, he's been given a new face surgically, and this has always been a thing that's really confused me since childhood. And I made sure to really look at it this time. He looks exactly the same. It baffles me. So it opens with him driving his cop car. You know, he's eating donuts, he's drinking coffee. It's late at night. He's on his own, and he sees a fight. So he goes to break it up, and it turns out to be a con, and they attack him, and then he does win the fight with these three assailants, and gets back in his cop car to report it, and then his truck appears out of nowhere and just pushes his cop car into the Hudson River. And then he wakes up in hospital, having supposedly been pronounced dead, given a new identity, and had this facial reconstructive surgery. All they appear to have done is shaved off his moustache. That appears to be the only change. And as I say, I've seen this film a lot, and anyway. So it's also never explained why he was selected. It's not like they really go into the backstory of, like, you were some amazing Vietnam vet or Marine. He's selected, and you move on. So all these things are sort of stacking up as to reasons why this was a one and done and didn't become a franchise. His tutor Chun is relentlessly sort of harsh, but amusing, and he does have a softer side. He likes to watch daytime soap operas or soap novellas, and there's one scene in the film where they go to a carnival, and through tossing rings over milk bottles, he wins a giant Pink Panther toy, and at the end, as they walk away, he says, "By the way, I'm keeping this," and insists that the toy is his. So yeah, Remo's made into a super soldier, so it kind of feels like a Bourne film from the 80s on a very low budget, and also a sort of 15 certificate one as well. There are some quite violent scenes, and it does remind me a lot of things like Rambo and Commando, but if they were made for kids, but kids of the 80s, when you were allowed to show kids films sort of swearing and fighting. It's got some comedy elements. As I say, the relationship between Remo and Chun is quite amusing at times, especially the way Chun has no sympathy for Remo, who's a big lumbering bulk, I think he calls him. And later on, when the soldiers come in, I kind of get reminded of the end of the Blues Brothers, when the army turn up and they're just running around all the time going hut, 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 hut. So yeah, it's sort of comical and violent. It's an odd blend. It's got some really good stunts in it. A lot of, it's from 1985, so almost entirely real stunt work. Although I have to say there is some unintentional comedy in the stunts, because there are scenes where it's clearly not Fred Ward. There's one scene where he has to jump up poles and walk along beams inside their apartment, and when it cuts to him doing the stunt, suddenly Fred Ward turns into a bloke who's about a foot shorter and looks like he's probably Asian and come from a Chinese sort of circus. So, as I say, amusement taken from that, which is unintentional. There's a bit later on where he does a zip wire, and he's supposed to be doing it with his bare hands, but you can clearly see there's a device there, and you can even hear it. And then later on, he walks a tightrope, and bizarrely, the director goes in for a close-up of his feet, and you can see he's suddenly wearing ballet shoes. Lots of unintentional comedy. It's probably most famous for the set piece on the Statue of Liberty, which is really impressive, I've got to say. It's a mixture of real fight scenes on the Statue of Liberty and a mock-up torso they made in Mexico. But either way, if you've got vertigo, it's enough to make you feel a bit queasy. Despite my mocking, Fred Ward did do a lot of the stunts himself, but clearly not the tightrope walking or the stunt in the apartment. But he does do the stunt on the Ferris wheel shot at Coney Island, which again, if you're of a nervous disposition at heights, maybe not for you. And it's set in, as I say, it's made in the 80s. It's set in the 80s, and it really captures that New York that you would see in films like Pelham.
Oh yeah, the caption of Pelham Night. What
Yeah,
I know
you know the one you mean.
two versions of that movie, and they're both really good. So,
Taking of
yeah.
Pelham, one, two,
Yeah.
yeah.
One time.
And that real filthy, dirty New York covered in litter and yeah, really like the New York that clearly inspired Gotham City, sort of New York. So as I say, it stars Fred Ward as Sam Makin / Remo, Joel Grey as Master Sinanju Chun, Wilford Brimley as Cure Director Harold W. Smith, J.A. Preston as Con Mac McCleary, George Coe as General Scott Watson, Charles Cioffi as George Grove, and Kate Mulgrew as Major Rayner Fleming. I read a lot of the actors apparently who auditioned for the part of Remo claimed to be proficient in the martial art of Sinanju, not realizing it was actually a fictional martial art made up for the books, which the film's based on. And as I said there, Joel Grey, who you may know from Cabaret as the MC, was cast as Cheon, the Korean martial arts master, which raises an interesting point for me. Now, he spent hours in makeup to make him look Korean. He's not Korean. I think he's actually Jewish. And if they were making this film now, there'd be no way that would fly. It would have to be an Asian actor at the least, if not a Korean actor. But as a child, I had no idea he wasn't Korean. And even now, the makeup is totally convincing, I think. And his performance is brilliant. It's not a mocking performance. It's a very true performance. I think it's very, well, let me put it this way. I've seen...
Yeah, it's of its time, let's just say.
Yes, that's very fair, yes. And I would say I've seen performances and films from Asia that are more comical than this. I don't know that it makes it right. That's not. I'm not claiming that, but it makes me wonder. Can one watch things like this where it has this issue? As I say, it wouldn't be made now, but do we therefore need to sort of not go back to these things? I don't know what the answer to that is.
No, I think all these films would be reclassified by the BBFC that I've chatted before. I'm really sorry to jump into your...
Please do.
These kind of films will be reclassified by the British Board of Classification because of these insensitivities to race and to sexism and whatnot. But at the same time, you can't go back and undo what's been done, and you just have to accept it as being off its time, and that's that, and just leave it. You're not going to sort of, it's not a hill to die on by defending the casting choices, but at the same time, you do need to be clever about how you approach these things. And nobody's saying that it was the right thing to do, but why did no one say anything then? It's because our perception of things are different.
Yes.
Yes. And it's a good thing that they are different, obviously. But,
absolutely. I mean, actually, the producer said apparently that he expected there to be a Korean or Asian actor in the role, but somehow they ended up with Joel Grey. He turned it down initially, but was then persuaded to do it. I think what's more dubious is when they did make a pilot for the TV series, they ended up casting Roddy McDowall. So they sort of doubled down on it. They've cast another white actor in the same role, which seems odd. But as I say, different times. So yeah, he's kind of the sort of Obi-Wan Yoda character in this, and despite the issues, he is very good. Let's leave it at that. So as I say, the studio saw this as being the first in a series of films that would create what they called a red, white, and blue collar bond, and signed Ward to do 3 films, which it didn't lead to. But they hired lots of Bond creatives to work on it. As I say, Guy Hamilton, the director, and screenwriter Christopher Wood, who had written The Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker. Um, like as I say, I really enjoyed it again watching it. Probably a lot of nostalgia. It's silly fun. It's got some nice ideas in it. It's got a really cool theme tune. I still love the theme tune. Um, the internet doesn't agree. It's got a 39% rating online. Um, so, um, so the critics were sort of split on it, but at the box office, it ended up making $14 million, which basically put any hope of a series to bed. And Chris Wood, the screenwriter, said that he questioned the choice of Fred Ward as the lead, who's a good actor but not leading man material, he said. And he had hoped that Ed Harris would get the role, but he was unavailable, and for budgetary reasons, they couldn't do the ending that he wanted. As I say, it was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Makeup, but lost to the Cher movie Mask. So I'll basically conclude by saying it's not got the best plot, but the plot's really just there to hang the set pieces on. I agree that Ward isn't the best leading man, although he's charming enough. He's probably at his best in Tremors, I would say. That's probably his peak. But I still enjoy it. It's not as grotesque as Rambo. It's got some interesting ideas. It's from, as I said before, it's from a strange time in the 80s when you could show kids full of death, violence, and swearing. I kind of feel sorry for kids now growing up in a sort of sanitized world, but it never did me any harm, or did it? I'll leave that up to you to decide. So it's a budget Rambo without the ultra violence. It's more child friendly. It's not great, but it's full of ideas. It's something, and that's something I always give credit for, even if the execution is somewhat lacking. And if you don't mind your child watching war movies with guns and fighting, then it's an enjoyable romp. And that's Remo Williams' Adventure Begins.
That's all we want. Movie. It's enjoyable. And you are right about kids' movies being too sanitized nowadays. It's like, we wouldn't flinch from an F-bomb in a PG or 12A, because that's what we were brought up on. And now it's like people just sort of are so offended, so easily offended. But I'm not talking about any other what's it called? What are we calling it these days? You know what I mean. I'm not talking about any of that stuff. What I mean is swearing in films should not offend anyone, really, because it just adds authenticity, in my opinion, because that's what people do in real life.
And I should say, when I say there's violence in this film, it's like classic sort of cowboy type violence where they punch each other and roll around a bit, but then they get up and everyone's absolutely fine. There's no blood and gore. So
MacGyver, really, MacGyver. Series, even those series in the 80s series, mid 80s series, they were quite violent, and there were things that people were doing in them. So that would never pass nowadays, because everyone's so worried about kids picking up things. Kids are watching worse things when you're not watching them, when you're not so I just think it's a bit silly, really.
Well, you can tell there's a generational divide when it was Man of Steel, wasn't it? And he has the big fight with Zod, and all of a sudden the audience was saying, "Oh, but what about all the people in the buildings?" And you think, it's a movie. We've watched the A-Team and all these stuff where people would flip over in jeeps and fall off cliffs, and you don't worry about the extras. It's just an adventure.
The Poseidon adventure and all of those things. Come on.
You imagine a Poseidon adventure now. It'd be a 4-hour film just watching every single person getting put into a lifeboat and making it safely home.
Saved everyone.
No, we're not for that. We're Gen Xers, and we like a bit of violence in our films. Well, That's it for this week then. You're no longer unarmed, but instead you are well versed and fully able to deal with any social situation requiring you to demonstrate your knowledge of the latest box office releases and movie news. And should the unlikely situation arise, you can entertain with your insight into lesser known 80s action movies that never became a film franchise. So I feel like a proud parent as I watch you walk off now into the wilderness, ready to face the challenges of your social life, confident we've given you a firm foundation in film theory. And if you want to continue your education, meet me and meet Linda in the foyer again next week. Until then, thank you very much, Linda. It's been a pleasure. And we'll see you again soon. Take care out there.
See you next week. Bye.
Meet me in the foyer.